shit's in the safe. Got me a spot out the way. Nigga just tryna be safe.
Let's get to the sports talk.
Is part of that deal?
Yeah, you just said it. DeAndre Hopkins, the new Arizona Cardinals receiver, comes over from the Houston Texans as part of a huge deal and really is part of a salary dump for the Cardinals. They take David Johnson, their former starting running back, and all of his salary, send him to the Houston Texans, and the Texans send back DeAndre Hopkins. And this has been an interesting one because very quietly Bill O'Brien has shopped DeAndre Hopkins around the league, and at every different point said he needed to be blown away by an offer that he didn't want to trade Hopkins. Well, now obviously he gets an offer that he likes. Here's the whole deal. It's DeAndre Hopkins and a fourth-round pick. He goes to the Arizona Cardinals for David Johnson and a second-rounder. That is the deal, a huge deal to kind of spice things up, and it certainly seems like both sides get what they want here.
All right, let me do this again.
Like, what direction is you going? You got rid of your best wide receiver. You have a second best wide receiver in Will Fuller that can't stay healthy. So you're going to hope that Will stay healthy all next season because he's going to be that number one option next season. If you draft a good wide receiver out of this draft, hopefully he pan out. Yeah, you got a good running back, but you just got rid of one of your top guys in your offense. What direction is Bill O'Brien going? Like, you got to hope that Will Fuller stay healthy next season.
DeAndre Hopkins in a 4 from Houston to Arizona for David Johnson, Ian, and a 2. I listed before the players that Bill O'Brien has already traded. Did we ever think that DeAndre Hopkins would be one of those players? Joe Thomas now joining me on his home cam. Joe, DeAndre Hopkins has been traded. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm pretty surprised. Obviously, David Johnson really hasn't had much of an impact in Arizona in recent memory, and DeAndre Hopkins has in Houston. So to take DeAndre Hopkins out of Houston is really a huge surprise. He was such a part of that offense. He was such a security blanket for Deshaun Watson, the way he could get open, the way he caught the football. He has the best hands in the NFL. It's really a surprising take, especially with where the Houston Texans have been this last year. They had some pretty good security at the running back position with Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson. They had done a nice job. Duke Johnson is already a guy that can catch the football out of the backfield. So it's not like you're replacing him with somebody who's going to do something much, much better. And you lose such a security blanket. And there really is going to be a lot of questions about where the Houston Texans are going to go for some of their underneath stuff, some of their gotta-have-it situations, especially with a guy like Will Fuller, who's been...
That's what I just said. A wide receiver that's been hurt, and you get rid of Deshaun Watson, security blanket. That's going to be a big turning point for Murray. Now you have a top-notch wide receiver for him. That is a go-to guy for him. That's what they trying to do for Kyler Murray, because they know they got something in Arizona. But you throw all your chips in with a wide receiver that can't stay healthy. And I like Will Fuller, but he's not always healthy. He's going to be the number one guy. It just can he stays healthy for a season to be able to try to fill that big hole.
injured a lot throughout his career.
DeAndre Hopkins has 632 receptions. He has caught 54 career touchdowns. We have our wide receiver here now, Steve Smith. Dude, this is stunning.
It is for some. Some people in Houston are not stunned by it. Talking to some people, it was something that was going to have to happen. You know, obviously he has a big number. DeAndre's excited about it. It's something new, a new chapter in his life. He has to move on. He was down in Clemson in college. Now he's in Houston doing what he was doing. Now currently he is going to be playing with Larry Fitzgerald in Arizona. He has talked to some people, and word out of Hop is he's excited for a new chapter in his life. He doesn't have anything negative to say about the team.
Great.
Things happen. Business is business.
Video and everything.
And he's going to move on.
But let me ask you this. Are they a better team right now, Steve?
Yeah.
You give up DeAndre Hopkins, you get David Johnson, who has not looked the same, system or no system, here, scheme fit or not, in Arizona. He's had his injuries. Are they a better team without DeAndre Hopkins, but with David Johnson and a second-round pick?
Well, it all depends on what they do with that second-round pick. And the reason I say that first is because David Johnson has not seemed like the David Johnson that we all have grown to love ever since the wrist injury. I love David Johnson. I love what he does. If you're talking about fantasy, he puts up numbers. But since that wrist injury, it's been his wrist, but yeah, he seems to be tiptoeing. He doesn't seem to have that giddy up in his step that we saw him have the first 2 years. The first 2 years, he was remarkable. Now, even the replay you're showing right now, he seems to be kind of just tiptoeing a little bit. Not throwing shade. I'm just saying when I compare,
hopefully David Johnson get back to what he once was before the wrist injury. Y'all better hope that he panned out to be a good running back for them. Hopefully he take off the load for Deshaun Watson. Because Deshaun Watson do need some load off of him, because you see him getting hit too much, and they need a running back to be a security blanket to take all that load off his shoulders. You know, this is a big move for them, a big risk for them to trade away their best wide receiver.
David Johnson to the present Johnson. And what we saw the first 2 years, man, it's not the same. They look like two different players. So I'm not really sure if Houston got the back end of the bargain when you talk about the equity that the Arizona Cardinals have gotten by getting rid of or shipping off David Johnson to Houston.
And a huge this as well, all the picks that the Texans had to give up last year to Miami and the Tunsil and Kenny Stills deals, they badly need those picks back. They get the second-round pick in return with David Johnson sending
So this get Kenny Stills more chances to be on this field a lot. So you got Will Fuller and Kenny Stills. I forgot about Kenny. Kenny had some good seasons with Miami, and he had some good little games with Houston. So it's going to be Will Fuller and Kenny Stills taking over. Hopefully that core works out. Hopefully Will stay healthy. Kenny Stills, hopefully just show up like he did in Miami for them, because it's a whole new core now. Arizona got the best deal out of this. You get somebody for Kyler Murray to throw to, and he still have a veteran president, Larry Fitzgerald, there. This is a good all-season pickup. This is a good opportunity for Kyler Murray to have someone to go to.
DeAndre Hopkins, wow, to Arizona. Charlie Casserly, from where you sit, what do you think?
Well, Houston's not better. David Johnson, I'm not sure where he is at this point in his career. You watch him on tape, the burst isn't there. You talk to people that play him, they wanted him in a game. The burst wasn't there. You saw what Kenyon Drake did in that system. That system is built for a running back. You have natural running lanes because the defense is spread out. Kenyon Drake, hey, he blossomed in the system, and he's not a complete back. David Johnson, when he was good, he would have done great in that system too. Now Hopkins, to me, still can play. Watching tape on him this morning here, open. Now we know he's never been a top deep guy, but he's a top deep guy because he'll catch the ball and muscle it away from the receivers. So he's going to be a big asset for Arizona. What we don't know is the rest of the story. We don't know what Chapter 2 is. We know Chapter 1, Arizona and Houston in this trade, but we don't know whether they're going to sign a free agent. We don't know what they're going to do with the second-round pick. Obviously, he won't have the impact that DeAndre Hopkins has this year, but you always have to watch chapter. That second chapter, we don't know yet.
Yeah, and Joe Thomas, you're the offensive lineman here. What this also does now, with Steve Keim with the Cardinals sitting at 8, it frees them up to take an offensive lineman there to protect Kyler Murray.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the deepest offensive line draft that we've seen in a long time. So clearly he's trying to do.
That's all. That's all they need to get together. Now you got the wide receiver. Now you have to have someone to protect Kyler Murray to be able to get the football to him. That's what they're going to do now. They're going to try to get an offensive lineman there that could be able to hold up so Kyler Murray can sit back there and break down the defense and be able to get the football to Larry Fitzgerald. Get the football to Hopkins. That's what they're going, the direction they're going to.
Do some things to be able to give him some flexibility in the draft to be able to maybe move up to get the guy that he really wants, the number one guy that he covets, or even when you've got a offensive line draft like this year where you've got 5 offensive tackles that are really pretty good that can all be your day one starter, maybe you slide back and there's somebody behind you that really covets somebody that's available at number 8. You're able to slide back, pick up more draft capital, and still get one of the guys that you really like. So giving yourself some flexibility in the draft is a lot of times why these general managers make these type of moves.
The Arizona Cardinals will now likely have 2 potential Hall of Fame, I know it's early with DeAndre Hopkins, wide receivers for Kyler Murray this coming season.
For the little bit of the rub, nigga, I gotta be safe.